because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week
Yeah,
before.
sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that.
But it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So the term woke has been, in my view...
But you basically go after Trump and Biden, you know, both of them. And a lot of people are not happy with you about that. I'm
not equally.
Well, not equally, because you know that Trump is doing more dangerous.
Of course. I mean, I don't think anybody was more out front on that danger than I was. Mm-hmm. I was talking about how he was never going to give up power long ago when everybody was laughing at me and said, you smoke too much pot. And I said, I smoke just the right amount of pot. Because... Finally, new rule. Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it. We are not young, but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he's cadaver-like.
But his brain is good. He's still great.
The king of chaos strikes again. That legendary middleman with a gift for turning clarity into confusion just tore through the view like a wrecking ball. And yes, he lobbed Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin's names like live grenades. No warning, no filter, just impact. One sentence in, and the studio's calm shattered like cheap glass under a sledgehammer.
But it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term, because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want, because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know, want to call it the super far left? But don't tell me the left
had... Or maybe the super far right.
Well, he's talking about the left. Well, then
okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
too dark.
Well, maybe it is.
On his latest episode, Bill Maher went full savage mode. No breaks, no apologies. Torching the so-called woke crowd for falling into the same trap they always do. Loud outrage, zero self-awareness, rinse, and repeat. No lessons learned, just performative fury followed by a return to business as usual. But this time, he didn't hold back. He was absolutely ruthless. Here's where it gets wild. They actually forgot it was a joke. Since when are people told not to laugh at something that was clearly meant to be funny? That level of cluelessness is next level. It's like common sense caught the last flight out and left the planet entirely. And the cherry on top, the silence. You could hear crickets. Maher roasted them live in front of millions, and not a single person on that panel could muster a clap back. Not one word. They were frozen. And let's be real. What can you say when the truth hits that hard and that clean?
Best.
Are you at all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women? And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how
Okay,
can we
well,
get out with a ceasefire?
All right, so Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means, okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community, and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a war. Here's a way to stop that. Stop attacking Israel.
And stop calling for the annihilation of Israel and all the Jews. They're calling for the annihilation of the Jews.
The so-called woke crowd backed themselves into a corner, cheering for the wrong side while turning their backs on the very people they claim to protect. It's a full-blown identity crisis unfolding in real time, and the moment that cracked the whole facade wide open. When Joy Behar opened her mouth and confidently blurted, "Joe Biden is doing good," like. Next voice 4. What show is she watching? No shade, but seriously, I'd spent the entire year trying to find just one solid win from Biden, and I've come up empty. If anything good is happening, it's buried so deep it's basically a myth, like trying to find a needle in a haystack that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, the far left keeps digging themselves deeper, shovel in one hand, denial in the other. It's wild to watch. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just hold on for this next clip. It says everything. You're about to watch them get completely triggered over absolutely nothing. They react like someone just burned down their house, when in reality...
But you basically go after Trump and Biden. You know, both of them. And a lot of people are not happy with you about that. I'm
not equally.
Well, not equally, because you know that Trump is more dangerous.
Of course. I mean, I don't think anybody was more out front on that danger than I was. I was talking about how he was never going to give up power long ago when everybody was laughing at me and said, you smoke too much pot. And I said, I smoke just the right amount of pot. Because plainly, I was using the term slow-moving coup before he was elected the first time.
That's right.
I said, this guy is never going to concede power. It's impossible to imagine him going, I lost.
Yeah, can't do it.
That's just not in his nature.
So, but I'm nervous about saying anything against Biden because I feel, not that I have so much power, and you have some more than I do, obviously, but...
Oh, I don't know about that.
Are you afraid that you might, influence people who are on the fence?
I think you lose all credibility. I do. I mean, my bond with my audience has always been I don't pull a punch.
Yeah.
My bond with my audience is you're not going to like everything I say, but I'm saying what I really think is true.
Right.
That's. Okay. And look, Biden just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
I know.
But Trump doesn't present that way. You look at somebody right away, you can kind of just sum them up. I mean, we are not young, but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he's cadaver-like.
But his brain is good. He's still great.
Well, here's what I said. Like, when I came back after the strike in September, I said, he should get out. Because he's just lost the faith of people. It's not fair. He's actually done a pretty good job. Yeah. But I said he's going to be Ruth Bader Biden. That's the term I used. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She stayed too long at the fair. Yeah. I remember Obama had her over to the White House, like in 2013, to hint, hey, spend more time with the grandkids. That would not be a good idea, Ruth. And she didn't take the hint, and she was not in good health, and she stayed too long, and she ruined her legacy and got the Supreme Court now to be...
It's just a joke, or a fact they don't like. But every time, it's the same tired routine. Fake outrage, over-the-top facial expressions, and dramatic gasps like they're trying to land a role in a low-budget soap opera. But let's be real, they don't actually care. Not about you, not about me, not about anyone outside their tight little echo chamber of groupthink and trending hashtags. And that's the part they never want you to figure out. The outrage? Manufactured. The empathy? Performed. The activism? Half-baked on a good day. What they really care about is keeping their audience riled up, emotional, reactive, and blind to the real game being played.
New rule, someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. Talk about doubling down on what got you fucked in the first place. Even the one concession I've heard a few people on the losing side offer, that liberals should stop saying the Trump voters are stupid, comes with a kind of unspoken parentheses. We know they are stupid, just don't say it. Yeah, I got bad news for you. They don't have a monopoly on stupid. You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers' union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
Now here's where it gets next level disturbing. Saying the quiet part out loud has become the brand. And no one's been louder about it, with the mask fully off, than the far left media. They're not even pretending anymore. The bias is right there, front and center. They'll say one thing on Monday, flip it by Wednesday, and then look at you like you've lost your mind for noticing. The gaslighting. We're talking Olympic level now. That's why voices like Bill Maher hit differently in this moment. Love him or hate him, he's stepping up and calling out the madness, head on. No sugarcoating. No tiptoeing. He's dragging the performative politics into the daylight and daring anyone to argue with it. The double standards, the narrative flipping, the moral grandstanding, it all gets laid bare. And speaking of The View, wow, that crew genuinely acts like they've been handed some divine compass that makes them eternally right. Not once do they stop and think, wait, could we be wrong here? No.
Because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded. And the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with.
They talk over guests, shut down dissent, and wrap it all in this smug little package of self-righteousness. But buckle up, because what Bill Maher said next, it wasn't just bold, it was surgical. He went in with precision, cutting straight through the noise and saying the exact things no one else in mainstream media has had the backbone to say out loud. You're going to want to hear every second of it. Now look, I'm not saying we should ride with Bill Maher blindly. Let's be honest, he's had his fair share of wild takes too. But when even someone like him starts pulling back the curtain live on national TV and exposing just how far off the rails the left has drifted, you better believe I'm tuning in, because clearly no one else on that side is willing to stand up and say, hey.
Me things like, well, you can't fix stupid. Sorry, that doesn't work with me. Yeah, you're stupid because you're not thinking about the bigger picture. You're not thinking about maybe we did something wrong. Maybe we're not perfect. It's like a relationship. You got dumped. America dumped you, and they're all like, you don't know what you had.
No,
yes, they do. They know what they had, and what they're saying is, we know what we had, and you're a mess.
It's a dude to go.
Maybe they're the problem, but they'd rather ride this runaway train straight into a wall than admit they've been going in the wrong direction. Every day, the left drifts further into absurdity, and watching it unfold feels like witnessing a slow-motion car crash. You want to look away, but you just can't. Nothing's getting better. No progress, no clarity, just noise. And the people who once cheered them on, they're quietly stepping back. Even the die-hard fans are starting to squint at the script, realizing, wait, none of this adds up. And let's talk about the media for a second, because the empire they built, it's cracking fast. The same big-name outlets that once controlled the narrative with ease are now collapsing under the weight of their own contradictions.
PBS testified before Congress this week amid accusations of liberal bias. Should the government continue to send taxpayer dollars to public broadcasters? Well, a little background here. I mean, they've been after them the Republicans have wanted to get rid of PBS for as long as I can remember. This crowd will probably do it. I mean, I also read my namesake, Catherine Maher, was head of NPR, and, you know, she said, we're completely unbiased. Give me a break, lady. I mean, they're crazy far left. So, I mean, I think we're past my view, we're past the age, really, where the government, first of all, why do we need to subsidize? Why can't we have outlets like this? And we're so polarized. These outlets became popular at a time when Republicans and Democrats didn't hate each other and weren't at each other's throats and didn't think each other was an existential threat. In that world, you can't have places like this, I think, anymore. They have to be private.